Chicago assembly plant because of the computer chip shortage.
A lot of members already know that there's discussion about it and aren't super concerned because there's protections and benefits for them. But as always, they're going to want to know as much as possible.
Ford's decision to suspend production at several of its U.S. factories has reignited the ongoing debate over tariffs and the wider trade war. Tensions that have been simmering for months have now reached a boiling point, especially following U.S. President Donald Trump's fiery response. While Ford's leadership maintains that it is accelerating investment in electric vehicles, many are asking, why would the company choose to halt domestic production at such a critical time, particularly under the shadow of mounting tariffs? In recent months, Ford has embarked on a major restructuring initiative aimed at fast-tracking its shift toward electric mobility. Part of this strategy includes relocating production of select models to lower-cost regions such as China and Mexico, a move that has drawn increasing scrutiny at home. The temporary suspension of activity at Ford's Chicago and Louisville plants has amplified these concerns, as the closures are expected to last several months, affecting thousands of workers. Officially, Ford describes these shutdowns as part of a broader effort to retool factories for electric vehicle production. However, sources within the company suggest that the real pressure stems from escalating tariffs and the rising cost of essential materials like steel and aluminum, making U.S.-based manufacturing economically unviable. President Trump responded swiftly and sharply, stating, "Ford can't use tariffs as an excuse. I don't believe they'll leave the U.S., but if they do, they'll pay the price." He followed up with criticism on social media and in press briefings, accusing the automaker of prioritizing profit over patriotism. Tariffs are just a scapegoat, he asserted. This is about greed. Trump's stance is consistent with his long-held protectionist views under the Make America Great Again banner. He has previously confronted major firms like General Motors, Apple, and Harley-Davidson, urging them to bring production back to American soil and threatening them with trade penalties if they don't comply. For Ford, the financial impact is significant. The company anticipates a $1.5 billion loss in adjusted earnings for 2025 directly due to the newly imposed tariffs. As a result, Ford has suspended its full-year financial guidance, citing uncertainty over future trade policies and the rising threat of retaliatory tariffs. Even though Ford exceeded market expectations in the first quarter with $40.7 billion in revenue, a 5% drop from the previous year, the uncertainty clouds the future. CEO Jim Farley remarked that, excluding tariff impacts, our business fundamentals are strengthening, with notable improvement in quality and cost efficiency. Meanwhile, the 25% tariffs on imported vehicles and non-compliant auto parts under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement are pushing production costs even higher. In response, Ford has raised prices on some of its Mexican-built models, including the Mustang Mach-E, Maverick, and Bronco Sport, up to $2,000 in certain cases. As Ford battles to stay competitive in the fast-evolving electric vehicle market, it faces formidable rivals in Tesla, General Motors, Stellantis, and Volkswagen. All are investing heavily in EV technology. However, building a modern electric vehicle requires substantial investment, not just in battery technology, but also in restructured assembly lines, supply chains, and new software systems. Ford argues that producing EVs in the U.S. is becoming increasingly untenable due to the high cost of raw materials, labor, and new compliance requirements. Competitors manufacturing in Mexico or Asia can undercut these expenses and export to the U.S. at lower prices, leaving Ford at a disadvantage. Labor unions are equally alarmed. Although Ford claims the plant closures are temporary, history offers a more sobering view. Temporary shutdowns have often evolved into long-term or even permanent closures. Automation and robotics in new EV lines may also reduce the need for human labor, leading to widespread job losses. In Louisville and Chicago, thousands of workers and ancillary businesses stand to suffer. Supply chains may stall, dealerships could experience inventory shortages, and consumers may face rising prices. Trump, however, remains unmoved. He insists Ford is abandoning its American roots in pursuit of profit, while tariffs are meant to protect, not punish, American industry. He has warned that companies failing to invest domestically will be penalized. This stance, while popular among some voters, is stirring fear among manufacturers and raising doubts about the long-term competitiveness of U.S. industry. The EV revolution, lies at the core of this conflict. As internal combustion engines lose profitability, stricter emissions regulations and changing consumer preferences are accelerating the transition to electric models. But transforming traditional plants into EV hubs demands hundreds of millions of dollars and relies heavily on imported components, many of which are now subject to steep tariffs. Behind closed doors, Ford CEO has reportedly urged the White House to reconsider its tariff policies, warning that without relief, more plants could be forced to shut down. The administration's response has been firm. We are protecting American steel and aluminum producers. That's our priority. Unions argue that such protectionism has backfired, leading not to more jobs, but to widespread uncertainty and unemployment. Ancillary industries, suppliers, and service providers connected to Ford's facilities are also bracing for impact. In short, Ford's decision highlights a deepening rift between industrial strategy and political ideology. While Ford says it is investing in the future, Trump insists the company is betraying its past. This clash is far from over. What do you think? Is Ford genuinely being driven by necessity, or is this a calculated step in its global strategy? Will Trump's tough stance help protect American jobs, or make things worse? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss an update. In our next video, we'll explore Apple's growing investment in India and the tensions it's facing with the Trump administration. Stay tuned.